Good evening, everybody. We have just approximately 8 months left to the UPSC 2024. If you're not a regular viewer of these classes, you're missing out on a lot. I can promise you on that because these classes are beneficial for your UPSC examination, prelims as well as the mains examination. The added benefit is that you get the PDF of these classes as well on my Telegram channel, that is by the name of Pooja Dwivedi UPSC. You just have to pay attention to how to develop skills for UPSC prelims because I have always told you that it's not just about knowledge and concept but more so about the skills. UPSC prelims is a skill based examination. It is going to test you by putting a lot of pressure on you. You have a less amount of time, you will have distorted statements to pick from, there will be certain keywords. If you miss out on that, you can end up picking the wrong statement to be the answer. So these are the kind of things we have to ensure we come at a sweet spot. We know the knowledge, we have the conceptual clarity, we just have to see how UPSC asks us the question. And many of the students also tell me that, ma'am, I will do the MCQs after I have finished these classes. No, finished any chapter or any class. No, you don't do that. It's beneficial for you to solve MCQs on a regular basis. Why? Because your mind gets molded accordingly. If anything is important, then only it will be asked in your examination, right? And you do not know what is important until and unless you go through the MCQs. Sometimes you may be studying something else, but UPSC may not never ask it, and you must be questioning yourselves. I have been studying since such a long period of time, 10 plus hours or 8 plus hours I am giving to my studies on a daily basis. What is wrong with me? You have to work hard and you have to work smart. So daily current affairs is the smarter way to approach current affairs. MCQs are put and hence explanation you will be able to relate the explanation with the MCQs. This is my sole motto over here. Plus, I also want you to understand the importance of these classes. Because if you're not a regular viewer, you are going to miss out on a lot. I have time and again told you that. Let's move on and talk about these many events that we are going to go through. First of all, let's solve this question together. I asked a question regarding this for your practice, and you have answered it correctly. Many of you, I will take up your names by the end of this class. So, Mainpuri Conspiracy of 1918, Kakori Train Action of 1925, and Foundation of Hindustan Republic Association, which later on became Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. This later on became that, so it's the same thing. Which of the following freedom fighters is associated with all the three events given above? The correct answer to this question is option C, Ram Prasad Bismil. He was born on June 11, 1897 in Shahjahanpur district of Uttar Pradesh. He was involved with Mainpuri Conspiracy of 1918, Kakori Train Action of 1925, and also founded the HRA, which later on became Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. For his revolutionary activities, which were termed as terrorist by the British, he was hanged in the year 1927. Alright, let's move forward. Consider the following pairs. We have to match the elements that are used in the fireworks for, producing good colors, bright colors. Barium, deep red. Using barium produces deep red in the firecrackers. Copper produces blue. Strontium produces bright green, as sodium produces yellow. So how many pairs given above is or are correct? I can add one more thing over here because I did not add it over here. That is why I told you firecracker. And maybe in your examination, only this much information would be given. Just understand I'm talking about firecracker. I can add color in firecracker. Now, barium actually produces bright green. Alright, so first pair is incorrect. Then copper produces blue. This is correct. Strontium produces deep red and sodium produces yellow. If you mix these elements, you can also get different colors accordingly. So, first is incorrect because it should be bright green, copper is blue, strontium is deep red and sodium is yellow. So, second and fourth are correct, first and third are not correct. How many are correct? Two only will be the correct answer. Okay. The Supreme Court has recently junked a plea by the Firecracker Manufacturers Association. They wanted that the Supreme Court should allow the use of joint crackers and to add barium with improved additives in green crackers. So we know that the regulation of using barium is in place since the year 2018. It's not a complete ban, but it's a regulated ban. And the case in which it was pronounced to be so was the Arjun Gopal versus Union of India case. Remember that. Arjun Gopal versus Union of India. Okay. So 2018 order which banned the use of barium and firecrackers is already in place. Wherever there is a violation, it will be regulated because the Supreme Court works on a balanced approach. Something if it is banned entirely and not in a phased manner, the people who are employed in the production of that and other people who are benefiting directly from that or indirectly from that get affected. That is why a complete ban never becomes the solution until and unless there is a substitute. Similarly, in your interviews, you can be asked about this. Why doesn't the government completely bans the use of polythenes and plastic bags? Why? Because we do not have a substitute right now. Even if we have a substitute, it is not accessible to many people. And also, it is accessible at a very exorbitant cost. More than so, we may not be able to pay for it. Then you have to understand first, substitution should be there because certain liquid materials and certain materials which are semi-solid cannot be carried in jute bags or some other sort of material. Plastic is the best possible solution for it right now. So until and unless we have a substitute which is accessible to all at affordable rates, we cannot ban that thing. So that is why it is very important. As a bureaucrat, your approach should be like this. Arjun Gopal versus Union of India, this was the case in which it was pronounced to be. Here the Supreme Court refused to order complete ban. Complete ban wouldn't be there on their sale and use, but imposed stringent conditions regarding their composition and usage. How to be used and what should be the composition. Only crackers with reduced emissions, that is improved crackers and green crackers, which are actually matching the noise emission standards, they will be manufactured and sold, and they banned their sale, the Supreme Court banned their sale online. Also, they can be sold only through licensed traders. Barium is a chemical element which is one of the alkaline earth metals of group second. This could also be asked in your examination. It's used in metallurgy, pyrotechnics, petroleum products, and radiology. Mineral elements that produce color. Barium produces bright greens, strontium produces deep reds, copper produces blue, and sodium yields yellow. Arrange the following words in the preamble of the Constitution in the correct order of their occurrence. Republic, sovereign, secular, socialist, democratic. Choose the correct answer using these codes. That means we have to arrange these words in the order of their occurrence in the preamble. We give to ourselves what? A sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic according to the preamble. So, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, that is 24351. 24351, option D is the correct answer. There is a lot of debate going on the usage of the words secular and socialist in the preamble. In the Parliament's special session, when it was noted by Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, the leader of the opposition, that in the copies of the Constitution that we have received in the new Parliament building, there is not the words, no usage of the words secular and socialist in the preamble. That created a lot of ruckus because it's a distortion of the preamble. And if you omit these words, what you are left with? Sovereign democratic republic. But the law minister said that in the original copy of the Constitution, the preamble did not consist of the names of the words socialist and secular. He produced that. So as you can see, I have the preamble beside me. The preamble says it's basically an insight to the rest of the Constitution. It's a brief introduction. It shows the aspirations of our forefathers. How did they want the independent India to become in the future? But originally, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic wasn't there. It was only sovereign, democratic republic. Socialism, the word socialist and secular were added by the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976 by the Indira Gandhi government. And this is the most debated part. Why is it debated? Because it was during the times of emergency when these two words were added. I will tell you why. I will tell you why as well. And do you know that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar wasn't in favor of adding these words in the preamble? I will tell you why there as well. I have already told you. If you have watched the classes that I take, you can easily know why. See, first of all, objective resolution, which was moved by Pandit Nehru, That was adopted as the Preamble. And this is sometimes called the soul of the Constitution. Different articles have provided us many freedoms, specifically fundamental rights. Before the addition of these words, particularly secular, India was a secular country. How did we know it? Because of the fundamental rights to practice, profess, and propagate any religion of my choice. That is why India is a secular country. India does not have any official religion. We do not promote any religion. Our constitution was very well aware of the ills of partition, and see where Pakistan is going, because it is very religion specific. So we have to understand we are not a theocratic state. It was already manifested through the fundamental rights, and Dr. Ambedkar said that why to add the word socialism? Maybe the country in the future wants to become a liberal country. Maybe socialism will not be there. So tying generation after generation to a single word or a single type of economy is not very it's not in favor of the democracy of the country. It will defeat the purpose of democracy, because democracy is the right to choose what you want to be, right, for any country. But Indira Gandhi government, the Garibi Hatao slogan that she gave, she wanted to ensure that she cements her position among the masses as somebody who is going to eradicate poverty, and socialism was added in that favor. So socialism is a social justice. That means any source of production or resources should not be concentrated in only one hand, that is capitalism, and it should be distributed on an equal basis. This is what socialism meant for India. So socialism has very many connotations, but these two words, because they were added during emergency, plus Congress, the party Congress, which actually added this word socialism, has become neoliberal. This has been one of the debates or arguments in favor of removing these two words, socialism and secularism. So I hope you understood it, what I meant to tell you. In 1994, although the Supreme Court said that secularism is a part of the basic structure doctrine, which means that certain basic characteristics as a country we all have, if we take away that, the country will not exist to be so. The basic structure doctrine, which was pronounced in the Kesavananda Bharati case. Here, in the Kesavananda Bharati case only, it was pronounced that preamble is a part of the constitution and it is very much amendable, but it is not justiciable. That means if it is violated, one cannot approach the Supreme Court or any court. Also, it cannot be enforced by the courts. Preamble under Article 368 can be amended. Alright, let's move on. Yes, P2I batches have started from 22nd. As you're watching it, classes are going on. If you are not yet a part of any P2I batch, I request you still have time. Please be a part of the P2I batch. Why am I requesting you so much? Because I know that there are myriad coachings who are going to provide you just GS at an exorbitant price, at an exorbitant fees. But studyIQ works on the principle of accessibility and affordability. So we are going to provide you the classes which will be live, study material, essay, ethics, CSAT, language papers. For mains, we have a mains residential program as well. That means if you were a part of the P2I batch and you have qualified UPSC 2024 prelims, you will be called to the studyIQ campus to prepare for the mains examination free of any extra charges. Lodging facilities will be provided by studyIQ only. And thereafter, you will have your rigorous interview preparation as well. And this is all just available for 29,999 only if you use the code PDLive. PDLive is also applicable to other courses. You can avail through this also. Our batches, as we go through accessibility, English and Hindi. These are the 3 types of batches you can go for. And the September evening batch, which started from 16th of September, this is for UPSC 2025. Everything is the same. Just this is for UPSC 2025. Here also you can use the code PDLive to get it at 35,999 only. We are soon closing in on our batches. Make sure you take admission here. With respect to the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, consider the following statements. The reservation of women is applicable only to the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha, the state assemblies. But not to Delhi Assembly and state legislative councils. If you haven't gone through the bill, the criterias and the features of the bill, I can promise you, you cannot take certain keywords out of the first statement. It's very confusing. And UPSC will confuse you. The work is, why will it confuse you? It knows if you haven't revised. It knows if you have just read anything superficially. It wants to also know how well you work under pressure. So all these things will prepare you for the prelims examination. Why UPSC is so unpredictable? Because your work as a bureaucrat in the future will be very unpredictable. You will be under constant pressure. So whenever you take up to prepare for this examination, make sure you are able to, get a hold of the pressure that you will go through even after becoming an officer. It's not going to be a bed of roses. If your temperament is good for this examination, is okay for this examination, then only you can, put yourself up with the pressure of this examination. From the very beginning, the prelims create such a pressure. Prelims is the most challenging part of this examination actually. So there is a reason why UPSC confuses you from the very beginning. Then under the bill, the delimitation has to take place according to the 2031 census, and no two women MPs can contest from the same seat. What is the rationale behind it? I will tell you that as well. How many statements given above is or are not correct? See, the reservation for women's bill, it has been in a limbo since the last 27 years until Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha passed it. It was a constitution amendment bill. That is why it had to go to Lok Sabha and then Rajya Sabha and then passed, and then it will get the assent of the president. Thereafter, it will become a proper reservation for women. And the reservation will be provided for 33% of the seats in Lok Sabha, in state legislative assemblies, in the Delhi Assembly, but not in the Rajya Sabha and not in the state legislative councils. So here is the confusion for you. Lok Sabha, yes. State assemblies, yes. And Delhi Assembly, yes. The provision for reservation, but not Rajya Sabha and not state legislative councils. So first statement is not correct. Under the bill, it has been explicitly told that we have to do the delimitation according to the 2021 census. This brings me to the question a student by the name of Prakhar has asked me in the comment segment. So Prakhar, if you're watching this, you asked me a question if a constitution amendment bill has to be brought in order to ensure that delimitation takes place before time. No, delimitation will take place according to the 2021 census only. Why? Because it has been explicitly stated in the bill, and this will take place after the elections. Because 2021 census couldn't take place, we all know why, because of the COVID-19, and the Home Minister has said that as soon as we finish with our 2024 Lok Sabha elections, census will take place. On the basis of that, delimitation will take place. Delimitation in itself is a very controversial topic. I have explained it thoroughly in one of my classes. So go and watch that. This is the last class, the challenges to OBC quota and delimitation. Okay. So the second statement will also be incorrect because we have to ensure that for 2029, women have proper representation in the Lok Sabha, legislative assemblies and Delhi Assembly. Okay. So second is incorrect. No two women MPs can contest from the same seat. Yes, for the same seat. Why? Because the representation for women will be reduced if two women are contesting from only one seat at the same time. Then what will happen? Their representation will be reduced. So that is why we have to diversify the number of seats. Okay. So first incorrect, second incorrect, third is correct. How many are incorrect? Two only will be the correct answer. 33% reservation for women in Lok Sabha, state legislative assemblies and Delhi Assembly, but not applied in Rajya Sabha and legislative councils of the states. 1/3 shall be reserved for women, for the women from the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. It has been highly debated why shouldn't we provide OBC quota? Because Constitution provides for reservation for SCs and STs in the representations in the lower house and the assemblies, but not for the OBCs. So there would be a discrimination on the ground of gender here. Why provide OBC quota for women only and not men? First that. And similarly, I have also told you about the minority quota. Explicitly, I have told you why is it not possible. Because even the Geeta Mukherjee committee did say that we can apply the quota for OBC women as well. Only once the constitution has been amended to provide OBC quota for all in the legislatures. So this is the reason. Reservation of seats shall come into effect after delimitation. I have told you that. Rotation of seats reserved for women in Lok Sabha and state assemblies also shall take place after each subsequent exercise of delimitation. No two women MPs will be allowed to contest one seat from one seat, and the bill excludes reservation for women from OBC category. I have told you why. Now, this was the 128th Constitutional Amendment Bill, like the 188th Constitution Amendment Bill that was passed in 2010 by the Rajya Sabha. It proposes to introduce two new articles, Article 330A and Article 332A. Also keep in mind that when it will come into effect after 15 years, this reservation will cease to exist until and unless another amendment is brought. Okay, moving on to the next portion with respect to the India-Canada relations, which are of course at the rock bottom right now. Consider the following statements. India became the top source of foreign students studying in Canada in 2022. India's import of pulses is almost 60% of the total imports that come from Canada. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? First statement is definitely correct. India has become the top source of foreign students who are studying in Canada, more than 2 lakh in 2022. And India's import of pulses approximately is 30% of the total imports that come from Canada. First is correct, second is incorrect. How many are correct? One only is the correct answer. So Canada, it hosts one of the largest Indian diasporas in the world. As you can see, immigrant population in Canada, India stands first, then Philippines, China, UK and USA. There are 16 lakh people of Indian origin that comprises of more than 3% of the Canadian population. India became the top source of students that are studying in Canada in 2022, that is 2.3 lakh. I was watching a report on why do the people from Punjab opt to go to Canada. See, agriculture is a very intricate part of Punjab and many other states. So if agriculture is not giving them enough, they have to look for other revenue sources. So what do they choose to do? They choose to look for an area which already has a base. Canada has a huge influential population of the Sikhs. All right, and that is why. Moving on, I have told you this. So India's total trade with Canada as of 2021-22 is just 11.68 billion US dollars, which is much below potential. The imports of pulses, almost 30% of the total imports from Canada. Canadian pension funds have cumulative invested US $55 billion, and FDI since 2000 has also been 4.07 billion US dollars. In 2021, census of Canada showed that Sikhs account for 2.1% of the Canadian population, and after India, Canada is home to the largest population of Sikhs in the world. The PV Narsimha Rao case is related to which of the following articles of the Indian Constitution? You must be thinking there is so much polity, right? Yes, there is so much polity. Why? Because right now, because of the sessions that, special session that went on, plus the different things that Supreme Court is saying. Article 72, Article 94, Clause 3, Article 105, Clause 2, and Article 190, Clause 1. The PV Narsimha Rao case is related to bribery. I will tell you how. And the parliamentary privilege, which protects the members of the legislature, is related to it. So Article 105, Clause 2 is the correct answer. Supreme Court has said that it is necessary to reconsider the correctness of the 1998 5-judge constitution bench in the PV Narsimha Rao case, in which it was told by the majority of the judges that the legislators have immunity against criminal prosecution on bribery charges for any speech or vote in the parliament. The PV Narsimha Rao case is related to the 1993 JMM bribery case. This is Shibu Soren's case. Here, Shibu Soren, along with some other people, parliamentarians, they were accused of taking bribes to vote against the no confidence motion against the then PV Narsimha Rao government. Here, out of the 5 judges on the bench about this case, 2 said that protection under Article 105 Clause 2 and 194 Clause 2 and the immunity which is granted cannot extend to this bribery case. But the majority of the judges say that no, it can be, it can also go on further to protect people, protect parliamentarians from criminal charges. So the top court in 1998 quashed the case against JMM's MPs, citing immunity under Article 105, Clause 2. Now, Article 105 of the Constitution deals with powers, privileges of the members of the Parliament and committees that are related to it. Why do we have this? For the parliamentarians to work vociferously and fiercely for the people. So they are not charged for saying anything or doing anything in the parliament. They cannot be charged under anything. They cannot be tried by the courts. This is the rationale behind it. But if people do the wrong things, the Supreme Court says we need to reconsider that situation. So Article 105 Clause 2 says that no member of the parliament shall be liable to any proceedings in any court in respect of anything said or any vote given by him in parliament or any committee, and so on. So this is the case, this is the article this case is related to. With respect to Mithun, which is Bos frontalis, consider the following statements. Apart from India, it is only found in China, Bhutan and Myanmar. It is often referred to as the ship of the highland, and an average Mithun produces only about 1.5 liters of milk a day, and it is nutritionally inferior than cow or goat milk. So how many of the statements given above is or are correct? So FSSAI has said that Mithun is a food product. It's a food animal. That means it can be consumed for better commercialization of Mithun. So people, farmers from northeastern states can get benefit of it. Mithun is actually not a cow. It is bovine. It is a bovine species, and it actually is from India's northeast region. It is also found in parts of China, Bhutan, Myanmar and Bangladesh. And here keyword is only, and only means these three countries only apart from India. Bangladesh is not here, so this is not correct. Now it is found at high altitudes. That is why it is also known as the ship of the highland. So second is correct. An average Mithun produces only about 1.5 liters of milk, and it is nutritionally very superior than cow or goat milk. So third is incorrect because here we have written inferior. First is incorrect, second is correct. How many are correct? One only will be the correct answer. I have already told you that it's a food animal. Mithun, you see, looks like this. Strikingly similar to a cow, but it is not a cow. It's far removed from a cow. It's a bovine species found in northeastern states, specifically if we talk about Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, and also what is mentioned, Mizoram. It is also found in parts of China, Bhutan, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. It is often referred to as the cattle of the mountains and ship of the highland. So remember that. It is considered a descendant of the wild Indian gaur or bison. Please, this is a prelims fact I'm telling you. Mithuns prefer cold and mild climates. They feed on free forest leaves, shrubs and grass. They have high fertility rate, producing one calf every year. The adult Mithun. It weighs about 400 to 600 kgs, and its productive life ranges from 16 to 18 years. It is currently reared under free range conditions in shrubby hills and forests. That means they are freely moving to have grazing abilities. The altitudes where they are found in is 1000 to 3000 meters above mean sea level. It is sacred to certain tribes such as Mishi, Apatane, Galo, Adi, Mishmi, Sherdukpen, just like the cow in the rest of the country, most of the northern region. Mithun meat is widely available in Arunachal. It sells at 300 rupees to 400 rupees a kg in Itanagar. And an average Mithun produces only 1.5 liters of milk, which is nutritionally superior to cow and goat milk. It's rich in protein and fat. Consider the following: Ayushman Gram Sabha, Ayushman Sabke Dwar 3.0, Ayushman Mela, Ayushman Sabha. Okay, so what do we have to see? How many of the above are a part of the Ayushman Bhava campaign? So you see, over 5 lakh Ayushman cards were made in just 4 days of the campaign. Over 20 lakh Ayushman Bharat health account IDs have also been generated. This is to boost the inclusion of people under universal health coverage. And as you can see, Ayushman Bhava is envisaged to saturate all healthcare services in every village and town, both in line with the commitment of the current government's mission to cover everyone under one particular health policy. And Ayushman Sabha is there, Ayushman Gram or Panchayat is also there under it, Ayushman Aapke Dwar, not Sabke Dwar, Aapke Dwar 3.0 and Ayushman Mela. So these all will work accordingly to reach the people at the very grassroots level, to raise awareness about different sorts of disease, and if there is any target to curb any disease like sickle cell anemia, that will also be covered under it. So the correct answer to this will be Ayushman Gram Sabha, Ayushman Mela, Ayushman Sabha, and Ayushman Aapke Dwar, not Sabke Dwar. UPSC can do this also. So 1, 3 and 4 will be the correct answer. 3 only will be correct over here. Let's move on. With respect to the state of working India 2023, consider the following statements. The overall unemployment rate increased in 2021-22 from 2017-2018. There is an increase in women's workforce participation. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? The state of working India 2023 says that unemployment has decreased, not increased. Now, unemployment is the rate of 6.6%. For 2017-18, it was more than 8%. Okay, more than 8% it was. So, first statement is incorrect. Second is correct. There is an increase in women workforce participation. So, 2 only will be the correct answer. The state of working in India says that earlier the unemployment rate was 8.7% as of 2017-18, but now it is 6.6%. There is increase in women's workforce participation, and there is a decline in self-employment earnings. That means COVID-19 has impacted businesses and entrepreneurship. Moving on, an upward trend is registered in intergenerational mobility. What is this? Intergenerational mobility means maybe your grandparents were not so well off as you are right now. So when you are doing better than the previous generation in your house, you may be earning better, you may have more social benefits, social security, then there is intergenerational mobility. But in general category, it is much more as compared to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. They are not getting the benefit of it. 42.3% of graduates under the age of 25, they are unemployed, and 21.4% of those who have finished upper secondary level school in the same age group are unemployed. Moving on. This is a practice question for you all to solve. Consider the following statements about the open market sales scheme. It enhances the supply of food grains during the lean season and the deficit regions. It reduces the carrying cost of food grains, and this scheme is not applicable to wheat and rice. So how many of the statements given above is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, all 3 or none? You have to answer it. Let me take the names of those students who have answered my last question correctly, because you all work so well. So I do that for you. Yes. Kanika, Simran, I do not understand your question, Vibha. So please, if you could contact studyIQ team for that. Okay, Kushal, Ria, then Roman, Shubham, SAN, I hope that's San, then Sivaram, Sivaraman, no sorry, Sivaram, Prabhat, Shiraz, Vasu, Jay, Padmashri, Mitlesh, Mallinath, Ritu, Shantanu, Abhishek, Mandeep, Mansi, Om, Utkal, Vinayak, Pragati, Nikhil. There is one name I cannot pronounce, so please write your names as well. Shribhas, Gopesh. Thank you so much for answering the last question. Answer this as well. Thank you so much.